Okay, so
Yeah.
today let's dive into something pretty cool, and that's kids life coaching.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, it's really kind of taken off lately, and we're going to do a deep dive into, a specific certification program. This one's offered by the Meraviglia EQ Academy,
Okay.
and their website is our source material today. And I got to say, it's got me pretty intrigued, especially their focus on practical tools. And they emphasize having access to, like, proven models.
Yeah.
So that tells me they're not just all about theory. They want to give you actionable techniques to actually use in real-world scenarios.
Yeah, and that's key, right? Because working with children, it's a whole different ball game than coaching adults. It's
Yes.
it's a very specific skill set.
Right.
How do you take those coaching principles and make them click with younger minds? That's what seems really interesting about this program.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're, passionate about working with children and really like shaping their futures, then this could be a good fit. And here's another interesting thing. It's all online, all via Zoom.
Oh, wow. So location isn't a barrier, which is fantastic.
Exactly. Anyone, anywhere can gain these skills.
Yeah.
So let's get into the structure a little bit. It's a 4-month program, and it's broken down into 12 weekly modules, about 90 minutes each. But, and this is where it gets interesting. It's not just about showing up to those modules. They've got weekly assignments, study material, and get this, an entire month of hand-holding after you graduate to help you launch your practice.
Wow, that's amazing. So many programs, they just give you the certification and you're kind of on your own. So that really shows commitment to their students' success.
Totally. And the content itself is really interesting. It's a blend of traditional life coaching, but also NLP tools. And they incorporate emotional intelligence and positive psychology.
Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is NLP?
Yeah, good point. Not everyone's familiar with that.
Right. It stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And it's really about understanding the connections between our thoughts, our language, and our behavior.
Hmm.
And in kids coaching, NLP techniques, they can be super powerful, helping children, reframe those limiting beliefs, build confidence, develop those positive habits.
Yeah, like giving them a toolkit for their own minds.
Exactly. And when you combine that with emotional intelligence, recognizing and managing emotions, it's like giving kids this amazing foundation for life.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then you add in the positive psychology, focusing on their strengths and well-being.
It's a really holistic approach, isn't it?
Definitely. And speaking of holistic, they have this Club Smiley community. It sounds like a really supportive network for certified coaches,
Yeah.
which makes me wonder, though, what does that really mean in the long term? What are the long-term implications of being in this community?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Like, are there networking opportunities, continued learning, maybe even client referrals?
Yeah, and that's definitely something I'd encourage anyone to look into if they're considering this program. Because think about it being connected to all these other professionals, sharing experiences and best practices, potentially even supporting each other's businesses. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
That kind of community can be so valuable, especially when you're just starting out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that support can make such a difference, especially in a field like this, when you're talking about guiding young minds.
Exactly. And speaking of which, let's maybe shift gears a bit and talk about what a kid's life coach actually does. Like, what does a typical session look like? What kind of impact are they having on these kids' lives?
Yeah, so it's really about, giving these children the tools and the mindset to really thrive in life, to navigate challenges, to build confidence.
So it's not about telling them what to do. It's more about giving them the tools to kind of discover their own strengths and solutions.
Exactly. It's like a partnership.
Yeah.
The coach is there to help the child set goals, overcome obstacles, really, really step into their full potential. That makes sense. So what might a typical session actually look like then?
Well, it's going to vary, of course, depending on the individual child's needs, their goals. But, it could involve things like goal setting, working on identifying strengths, weaknesses, developing coping mechanisms, for stress, negative emotions, a lot of focus on communication, problem-solving skills.
So it's really interactive and focused on building those essential life skills.
Absolutely, and the impact can be huge. I mean, imagine a child who's maybe struggling with self-esteem or anxiety, right? Through coaching, they can learn to reframe those negative thoughts, build that confidence, approach those challenges with a whole new mindset.
Wow, so you're really talking about like transformation from the inside out.
Right. Exactly. And those are skills that'll stick with them,
Yeah.
in school, relationships, their future careers, everything.
Yeah, it's like setting them up with this like strong foundation for a happy and successful life.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's say someone's listening. They're like, I'm in. This is me. I want to do this.
Yeah.
They take the program, become a certified kids life coach. What's next? How do they actually build that practice, start working with children?
Well, that's where that post-certification support comes in,
You're
right? And potentially that Club Smiley community.
Right. And I really want to touch on that community a bit more because we keep mentioning it.
Yeah, for sure.
It sounds like they give you guidance on like the business side of things.
Yeah, like setting up your practice, finding those first clients,
And the networking. Huge. Right. Connecting with those other coaches, sharing ideas, maybe even referrals.
Absolutely. It's like having that built-in support system as you're starting to navigate this new world of being a kid's life coach.
Yeah.
And when you're this passionate about making a difference, that kind of support is invaluable.
It's like they really have thought of everything, huh? The training, the business side, the community.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
And like we said, they really emphasize those practical tools, those actionable strategies. So you're not just learning theory. You're ready to work with those young clients right away.
Yeah, it's about giving these aspiring coaches the confidence to really step into this role and make a difference. Because you're right, guiding young minds, it is a huge responsibility.
It is. It really is. And speaking of making a difference, we're talking to you now, dear listener. Like, imagine being the one to help a child build that unshakable self-esteem, that resilience, to really navigate life with confidence.
Giving them the tools to embrace their strengths, set those healthy boundaries, communicate their needs effectively. These are skills that will serve them not just, now, but for their whole lives.
It's like giving them a head start on a happier, healthier future. And if you're someone who's, always loved working with kids, this program, this could be it, right? This could be that path to a really rewarding career. You'd be shaping future generations.
That's amazing when you think about it.
It is. It's powerful stuff. And hey, and don't forget, we mentioned those testimonials earlier. If you really want to know what it's like, go check them out on Maravillia's website.
Yeah, those are really valuable.
They give you that real-world perspective.
Yeah.
From people who have actually gone through the program. Because it's one thing to hear us talk about it, but to hear from someone who's actually used this training to make a difference, that's huge. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of kids life coaching and this Maravillia EQ Academy, I really just encourage you to take a moment,
Yeah, what resonated with you today? Did anything spark your interest? Can you see yourself guiding these young minds? Because, with the right tools and support, like this program offers.
It's really incredible work. And investing in those kids, it's an investment in a better future for everyone.
Huh.
So we'll leave you with this. Imagine the ripple effect we could create if we empower children today to be those compassionate, resilient leaders of tomorrow.
That's a powerful thought.
It really is. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those conversations going.